While it is commonly understood that the sound of music is an intricate and eternal masterpiece of film music, and what most watchers fail to notice is the presence of cryptic errors lingering in the background the entire time. A moment within the movie was never repaired in the production process, and once you notice it, you will never be able to forget it. This subtle error is merely the tip of the iceberg. While the film contains awkward editing moments that can be seen to be systematically disrupting the flow and weird elements within the background details that simply seem misaligned with the scene, there are 13 weird mistakes lurking within the movie. Are you prepared for an intimate analysis? Behind the hillside magic. Among the most iconic images in the history of filmmaking is Julie Andrews dancing with joy on a sunny hillside, arms flung wide, singing the title song, The Sound of Music. This lovely scene has all the elegance and ease of a ballet, yet it required a host of technical challenges, physical hardship, and even some on-location acrimony to achieve. To capture this sweeping, wide-ranging shot, the team employed a helicopter-borne camera, a technique that was rarely practiced in the mid-1960s. The cameraman was attached to the helicopter and flew straight at Andrews, who is turning in a sunny meadow. The problem was noise. Helicopters are very loud, and Andrews would not be able to hear the musical phrasing. To solve this problem, choreographer Mark Bro was actually hidden away in some bushes with a megaphone, yelling directions above the sound of the whirring rotors. Every time the helicopter flew overhead, the strong downdraft pushed Andrews to the ground, sending her rolling into the grass. Andrews has joked that she spent the entire filming experience spitting dirt and hay. It took 6 or 7 tries to get a usable shot, with Andrews being blown down by the wind every time. Nature itself did not want to provide a cooperative backdrop. The scenic hillside area belonged to a farmer who agreed to keep the tall grass uncut for the filming. But when they came to do the finish, they saw that the farmer had already cut the grass, so they had to substitute it with shorter, less dramatic foliage. The filming crew created an artificial stream and even uprooted real trees so that Andrews had something to dance around. However, the farmer was naturally annoyed by the delay in the filming. Yet the end product was absolute magic, tantalizing greens, sparkling streams, and the illusion of absolute spontaneity. However, the truth was that all this was highly controlled, even by the standards of the present day. This single shot was the iconic image of the film, and it demonstrated that the key to what looks real on the screen always involves a lot of hard work. If the use of choppers was hazardous, the following scene was even more so. When injuries shaped the film. Injuries. Though remembered as a polished work of elegance, the production of The Sound of Music had more than a few imperfections. Many of the most remembered moments in the film exacted a heavy toll in life, while others were cut and shaped in the editing room for a better effect. The worst accident that happened during the shooting was when Charmy Carr, the actress for Liesl, slipped and broke through a plate glass window while dancing with Daniel Truitt during the 16 going on 17 sequence when she slipped on the wet floor and broke through a plate glass window. Fortunately, she hurt her ankle badly enough to warrant immediate bandaging. Despite the injury, the show went on by tending to her wound and using makeup to cover it while altering her choreographed dance steps. However, the gazebo itself created another problem. Since the real gazebo in Salzburg was too small to film, a bigger replica of the same structure was erected at the Fox Film lot in Los Angeles. Julie Andrews, too, put her own little stamp on the musical composition. Towards the end of Duri Mi, she sang an extra octave in the higher octave that was not part of the actual musical composition, saying that she simply sang it as she could. However, Julie Andrews has since lost her high octave after a failed throat operation in 1997. Further editing honed the movie's pacing. Scenes that were filmed but did not make it into the movie are where Liesl introduces Rolf to Maria, and where Captain Von Trapp sings Edelweiss alone in the garden. These scenes were edited out because the movie's direction was to avoid slowing down the story. Through these transitions, the movie became more dynamic. Hard work, improvising, and editing ensured that the viewing experience is seamless. It may feel like second nature, but making the movie required hard work and risk-taking. The success no one predicted. At the time of The Sound of Music's debut with the public in 1965, it was doubtful whether it would be a success on a level that would be tantamount to a cultural phenomenon. The opinions of the press at first were divided, some declaring it was old-fashioned at a time when Hollywood was hungry for stories with a more somber edge. However, the audience was wildly receptive, and within a month, it was at the top of the box office, staying there for a record-breaking 12 months. Later, in 1966, it broke Gone with the Wind's record and was declared the highest-grossing movie of all time, staying at the pinnacle for 5 years. Globally, it has sold over 283 million theater tickets, and together with 2 massive re-releases, it accumulated $286 million in revenue from its initial release, enough money for a musical, let alone enough for it to shatter box office records in 29 countries. In many cities, it stayed in theaters for 4.5 years. While it was certainly beautiful landscapes and its musical scores, it was more, that is, emotional truth. The narrative successfully wove together love, family, and decency in a manner which resonated with the hearts of many spectators, courtesy of Julie Andrews' radiant performance. The family continued to come back to see the movie, as it was something that the whole family could enjoy. While the children enjoyed the playfulness of the trapped children, the parents enjoyed the romantic message of fighting back against the darkness in the world. This movie was enjoyed in movie theaters and from the comfort of home. Songs from this movie filled the air, while places featured in the movie brought tourism to Salzburg. Andrew's dance on top of the mountain and the family's escape also depict hope, strength, and freedom. There is more to the success of the movie than the fact that it has won awards and accolades, as its success proves that a project that had insiders doubting it is something far. Julie Andrews, The Perfect Gamble. Among numerous. When casting Maria, a tough casting decision had to be made for the filmmakers. Ernest Lehman, the writer of the screenplay for The Sound of Music was certain about only one person to bring warmth, humor, and sincerity to Maria, Julie Andrews. He was so sure of himself that he allegedly said only one person could play Maria. However, when it came to casting Maria in 1964, Andrews was no big screen star. She had finished only 2 movies, Mary Poppins and the Americanization of Emily Starr. However, these movies had not been released then. She was a stage actor from her plays like My Fair Lady and Camelot Star. The studio bosses were in a dilemma. I was rejected for My Fair Lady by Jack Warner, she has said, because I had no screen appeal. Other actresses who tested for a part were Doris Day, Grace Kelly, Shirley Jones, Angie Dickinson, and Bancroft, Carol Lawrence, and Leslie Caron, and Mia Farrow, who tested for a different part more than once. Perhaps one of them could have changed history for this film. But director Robert Wise had a secret under his belt. He had viewed Mary Poppins footage and knew that Andrews had star quality. Wise did not waste time signing Andrews before other studios could swoop in. Andrews agreed to $225,000 for the role, and she did not take part in the profit-sharing plan. It would prove how underappreciated she was at that point. Nevertheless, Andrews had some concerns. Her first question for Wise was how they could eliminate too much sweetness from the narrative. She did not want the narrative to become too sweet and too emotional. This instinct turned out to be correct. Her down-to-earth warmth helped to prevent the film from turning out too sweet. Looking back on it, the casting choice seems almost corny. However, at that point, it was a bold move that turned a young talent into a legend. The Reluctant Yes by Christopher Place. Andrews was quickly cast, although the part of Captain Von Trapp proved much more elusive. Actor Christopher Plummer, who eventually landed the role, actually considered not taking it several times. He started off disliking the character, finding him to be a one-dimensional, stern personality type. Several other acting stars, including Sean Connery, Richard Burton, Bing Crosby, and Yul Brynner, were approached for the role, although none of them were a perfect fit. Plummer remained a preference but was unwilling to commit without an update. He addressed Ernest Lehman directly and explained his vision. Von Trapp must have worldliness and humor and depth. His character change must develop through Maria's effect on him. Contrast scenes involving strictness with Elsa and warmth with Maria were also sought. The team agreed on this vision change. Wise incorporated these changes into the story. These developments helped Plummer commit more fully to his character. Even though not all of his ideas got through the editing process, the end result was a performance that was authoritative yet vulnerable. Had the editing process not taken place, the captain may well have been a one-dimensional character. Instead, what was produced was a memorable performance by Plummer that showed how hesitation can be a catalyst for greatness. Rain delays and the build-up of tensions. True to its name, the filming of the soundtrack and score in Salzburg and Bavaria was characterized by continuous rainfall. This meant that filming was delayed, and the apparent bright sunny conditions were eventually captured between rainfall. Plummer was particularly exasperated, having a voice dubbed in areas where singing was required, as well as contemplating leaving the production. Even the simplest scenes became grueling. It took the cast and crew 15 takes to record the entrance of the character Liesel through Maria's window because of the rain. To keep the wet effect, a device known as Mr. Rainstorm doused Charmy and Ka, the girl who played Liesel, with cold water. Muddy roadways prevented the transportation of the crew's equipment, so the crew, as well as Julie Andrews, had to be carried by ox carts. In a statement by Wise, Andrews appeared wrapped in a fur coat, waiting to shoot the first frame. Delays added to expenses, and morale was tested. The children's bedroom scene was postponed, and exhaustion ensued. However, when the final cut was released, none of it appeared on screen. Behind the camera, Salzburg was a town where sunshine was a constant presence, and rain clouds hung at a distance. 12 takes for one kiss. The romantic kiss between Maria and Captain Von Trapp looked sweet and effortless, but filming this scene was not easy. This kiss scene took 12 takes because of the technological problems on sets. The massive arc lights used to model the moonlight made an odd groaning sound. Whenever Andrews and Plummer tilted their heads for the kiss, this sound made them laugh uncontrollably. Andrews also remembered fighting to keep a straight face as the lighting hummed loudly, making her life harder. Plummer joked that her warmth made it impossible to keep a straight face. Wise became exasperated, keeping an eye on time and costs. Later, he adjusted his lighting and filmed some of these scenes with semi-darkness to hide both the noise and the reactions of the actors. The edited resulting scenes gave an impression of an accomplished romantic scene. Contrary to an advertiser's romantic proposal, this is how actors experience hours of awkward takes and forced giggles. The dangerous lake scene, one of the most fun sequences in the movie, Maria and children winding up in a lake, was even more dangerous than it seems. It took no fewer than 4 setups for a boat to turn over for a single scene. It was even more dangerous for Kim Carath, the child actor playing Gretel, a girl from a very rich family, as Kim could not swim, while Julie Andrews had.